On the 6 here on Fox Local, caught on camera a disturbing attack on a Metro bus driver. The suspect's still on the run tonight. Plus, construction stopped. A federal court blocking work on President Trump's ballroom project. What it's going to take to get crews working again. And a lot of excitement at Commanders training camp. Stephon Diggs' first practice in the burgundy and gold. We'll take it Ashburn. Thanks for joining us live on Fox Local. We start with tonight's top story. Storms moving through the DMV. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect across the region. Caitlin Roth live in the Fox Life Weather Center tonight, tracking it all for us. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi there, Kenneth. Yeah, pop-up showers and storms, some of which became severe this afternoon, and we're still following one in Montgomery County. So here's a look at radar at the moment. You've got several pockets of showers, and then that one strong storm just to the north of D.C. So we'll zoom in on that right now. This warning goes until 7 p.m. It was actually a storm that formed right on 66, right around Tyson's Corner. But as it pushed northward, it encountered an outflow boundary, so the remnants of another storm, and that allowed it to really blossom and intensify. So right over Rockville and kind of bisecting 270 here in Montgomery County, that's the worst of the storm. Heavy rain, lightning, as well as the potential for winds to 60 miles an hour. So it's kind of clipping a tiny portion of Fairfax and Loudoun, but it's mostly for central Montgomery County until 7 p.m. If you're underneath this storm, it is pouring, it is probably loud, and there is the potential for a little bit of wind damage. It's not moving very quickly, so there will be the tendency for this to probably rain itself out and maybe weaken as it slowly drifts to the north over the next half hour or so. There are some showers approaching 95 in Virginia. This is just rain showers, light stuff, but headed for Nats Park, where we know the team is on a rain delay at the moment. That was called due to the lightning in the vicinity, but they'll probably wait till those showers get through. The severe thunderstorm watch goes until 9 p.m. It was another hot day. High temperatures hit 92 in Washington. And where we stand right now, we're mostly in the upper 80s, but some of us rain cooled in the 70s. So watch those showers go through over the next couple hours. There could still be a gusty thunderstorm or two. By 8 o'clock, they're moving north and east of D.C. And then by 10 p.m., we're pretty much done. We'll have a look at that weekend forecast coming up in a bit. Back to you, Kenneth.
All right, Caitlin, thank you. Today, a federal appeals court blocked President Trump's White House ballroom, saying construction has to stop. Fox 5's Homa Bash following the latest from the newsroom tonight. Homa.
Kenneth, well, first of all, this is far from over. Construction on the ballroom is well underway, as we know, over at the White House. But the court says the 90,000 square foot project cannot move forward without approval from Congress. President Trump immediately after the ruling saying he will take this battle to the Supreme Court. Virginia Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw telling me the law here is very clear.
I'm skeptical of what this Supreme Court will actually do. They haven't shown much willingness to stand up to President Trump, but I'm hopeful that they'll do it in this case. And I think Republicans in Congress don't want to have to vote on this because the American people are suffering right now. We just got a bad jobs report. The economy is shedding jobs. Prices are rising faster than wages. Groceries up, gas up, housing up.
Meanwhile, in a Truth Social post, President Trump writing that the 2-1 decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. is, quote, horrendous, politically motivated, and unlawful. He added that the block jeopardizes the lives and welfare of the people who work at the White House, including future presidents.
We have very extensive laws protecting important public buildings, the Capitol, the White House, and so on, so that no one person, even the president, can make permanent decisions that affect all people and all presidents in the future.
So today's decision by the appeals court upheld a lower court decision that paused above ground construction. Any work related to national security facilities underground can continue, with the president mentioning that the project includes bomb shelters, a hospital, and top secret military facilities. In fact, he is now calling it a military center instead of a ballroom. And important to note, the judges said their ruling does not prevent the president from building the ballroom if it is authorized by Congress in the future. So now the president has 2 weeks to see if the Supreme Court will take up the case. Kenneth?
And we will be following it. All right, Homa, thank you. And President Trump is trying once again to remove Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. In an email to Cook, the president said he is considering removing her over claims of mortgage fraud. He gave her 3 weeks to respond. President Trump tried to fire Cook last year over the same allegations, but a federal court blocked the move. Cook denies the fraud claims. New video tonight of an assault on a Metro bus driver. That suspect still on the run. The incident happened Saturday in Silver Spring near Colesville Road and Woodmore Circle. That video shows the driver talking with a masked man telling him to throw something out. Then the man attacked him while the bus was moving. The suspect got off that bus shortly after it stopped. No word on the extent of the bus driver's injuries. Anyone with information is asked to contact Metro Police. A 10-year-old child riding a bike in Reston recovering from a hit and run. Police say it happened at Barron Cameron Avenue and Reston Parkway around 9 this morning. The child was rushed to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the car was a dark-colored sedan, and anyone with information should contact them. One of the men who killed a Maryland father during an armed robbery 2 years ago was just sentenced to 30 years behind bars. The victim's family says the sentence does not go far enough. Here's Fox 5's Bob Barnard outside Montgomery County Circuit Court in Rockville.
Noting that the defendant needed to be punished, Judge Sharon Burrell, instead of sentencing D'Angelo McCroy to life plus 30 years in prison, which is what he could have gotten under state guidelines, sentenced him to basically 30 years behind bars, eligible for parole in 15 years. This is a follow-up to a story we first told you about 2 years ago.
Murder victim Lonnie Sawyer was 35 years old, leaving behind a large family, including 2 young daughters, the victim of a deadly armed robbery. His body was found with a gunshot wound to the head in woods off Game Preserve Road in Gaithersburg on February 8, 2024. Prosecutors say he was shot while driving his mother's car, having met the 3 suspects at an apartment in Germantown earlier that night. D'Angelo McCroy, now 28 years old, was convicted by a jury last October of armed carjacking, first-degree murder, and other related charges. In this photo from the night of the murder, victim Sawyer is seen wearing the black sweatshirt. His convicted killer, McCroy, is walking in front of him in the light-colored clothing. Police saying the suspects were caught on surveillance cameras at a Sheetz in Germantown, where they tried to use credit cards they stole from Lonnie Sawyer. This was about a mile from where Sawyer's body was dumped in the woods.
Now, this was a brutal execution murder. They stripped him down naked, left him in the woods, just threw his body away like trash. This was a horrific crime that these men were both involved in, and the sentence is a fraction of what Maryland's sentencing guidelines for this type of a crime called for a punishment far greater than was given here today.
Co-defendant Quentin Brown faces life in prison when he's sentenced in October. A jury last month found him guilty of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and other charges. The third person involved in the murder, Alicia Carson Brown, pled guilty to being an accessory after the fact.
Quentin Brown was the actual gunman in this murder case. We learned in court today that D'Angelo McCroy and Lonnie Sawyer's families knew each other, had attended church together years ago, and that the defendant's grandfather was once the pastor of that church, but that his own father and one of his 9 siblings are both in prison also for murder. We also learned today that the defendant, D'Angelo McCroy, 28 years old, is the father of 5 children. Guys.
In the district, a new juvenile curfew zone taking effect in the Columbia Heights neighborhood tonight. The curfew impacting this area of Northwest from 8 to 11 p.m. tonight and tomorrow. This is on top of the citywide curfew that still runs from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Howard University is offering separation packages to about 600 tenured faculty and staff. The HBCU says only 16% of employees are eligible, and the move is part of a long-term plan to strengthen its finances. Those employees are being offered retirement with extra pay and benefits.
The university offered this decision or this severance package to its faculty in the summer as it was weighing how to respond to several hundred students that had not communicated to the university how they'd pay for tuition.
This comes days after Howard abruptly unenrolled 500 incoming freshmen due to unpaid tuition. 200 students have been reinstated.